Why your Toronto home listing is not selling. I'm going to be breaking this down as I see, quite a lot of properties out there that are not selling. And this is slowly becoming the majority of the listings I'm seeing in the market right now. So if you're thinking about selling your home in the near future, call it like 2 to 6 months or so within the 2024 year, and you want a more data-driven approach to pricing your property and how to actually make sure it sells, let alone, to maximize the price that you can get in the current market, then you can book a call with me using the link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Simply click on the date and a time that works best for you. And then when you see the prompt, fill in your name, email, mobile phone number, and the question you have for me, and then we'll chat then. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. My name is Zhen, and if you're enjoying the content I'm putting out there, do me a favor and like and subscribe so a lot of people will see this content as well and be informed on the real estate market. So the question I'm, asking in this video is, why are some Toronto homes not selling right now? And it's a very easy answer that no seller, no homeowner wants to hear. It's the price, right? Let me illustrate the importance of price to you. As a listing agent, we're essentially a marketer, and our job is to market the property. So let's talk about what it means to market the property, because everybody thinks HGTV and they go, wow, time lapse, and it's all done. But it's not really like that, right? But in reality, most of it, I would say like 80% of it boils down to pricing. Because in marketing, we use the term like top of the funnel, which I'll put over here to illustrate, which is just like a fancy term in marketing for saying, hey, what are you doing to create awareness for the property? And yes, how you dress up the property and how it looks makes a fairly large impact. But I'll talk about more of that later, because the most important thing and the biggest driver is the list price. Even if you have the prettiest property, you won't attract buyers to come and spend time looking at your property in person and even consider buying it if it's not priced correctly, right? Because right now that, all the sold data is publicly listed, nobody wants to be known as that schmuck who overpaid on the street for the property. It's a true story. I hear this quite often. And this is why we spend so many hours going through a lot of data to finalize what the list price is for a lot of our clients. And it is the first and foremost important top of the funnel task for marketing our client's home to make sure it sells, period. That's it. Because if it's priced too high, it's not going to sell because it has no showings, because you need showings to sell. Also, period, right? And you cannot sell a property unless someone sees it, like 99.99% of the time. Funny story, because so much of my life revolves around real estate. My wife and I have always been playing this game called Guess How Much. And we generally, play this game to see how much a property gets sold for. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Guess how much?
But this also keeps me on my toes because it gives me real world data that I use to analyze for our clients and tell them, hey, look, this is how this homeowner got to this price and how it sold and why not. Because we have data points, right? And all of these games we play are data point. And to an extent, we play these same games, right, with our clients who are buying and selling, because we take these data points combined with the sentiment that we get from the boots on the ground conversations we have with our clients to ultimately arrive at the temperature of the market and where this thing is going to be sold at and what the list price should start at, right? And we have this conversation all the time before we go on market. So let's talk about the next step on the funnel, right, which is the preparation of the property, which I would say is the next like 15 to 20% of our job. So as listing agents, our job is to make the property pop, make it pretty, right? So you imagine us as listing agents as like the makeup artist for the celebrity, your home being the celebrity. I, as the makeup artist, need to make sure that home presents very, very well when the paparazzi come, i.e. the photographer and the videographer. You want to look like this and not that. Do you know what I mean, right? Same person, but the way it's portrayed is totally different. And some will ask, does it really matter if it's priced right? And the answer is yes, because if you're priced right, but you show poorly, you reduce the number of those buyers coming in because you get the Tinderization of real estate, right? Because most buyers won't be imagining how this property can be great. You have to show them that it's great. It's a very, very distinct it's different. Now, generally in this case, you get like 3 photos, or what we call like hero shots, to kind of keep the buyer's attention and keep them scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to elicit interest, which ultimately means that they're going to book a showing, right? And this is the same thing as if you're online dating, just scrolling through Tinder, right? You get 3 photos of the person you're trying to match with, and you just don't get that right vibe or that right feel when you see these photos. You're not going to meet in person, which is exactly what you have in real estate. If it doesn't get the right vibes, same thing, they're not going to want to see it in person. Exactly the same, right? And if you don't have people show up to your property to see it in person, it means that your agent or yourself has failed to present the property properly, right? Those 2 things. And generally, like when we ask our clients, hey, why don't you want to see this property? Even though like when we just look at the specs, not the photos, say, hey, it's a pretty good deal for, the specs of this. A lot of times they say, hey, it just doesn't feel right? Like you can't quantify feel, which is normal because home buying is very much an emotional decision. Even though at the end of the day, like after we crunch the numbers and the logic, you still want to love the property you're going to live in or buy, right? Again, for end users. So if you can't create that feel, you're not going to get showings. And if you can't get showings, you're not going to sell. Simple as that. So you must price correctly, and your hero shots must be enticing enough to get someone to in there in person. And if you do these 2 first steps, you can get showings and you should sell. Then this is, when we go back to the data, how our showings are, and our team generally compares other listings, how many showings they've gotten, what the feedback is, and the average amount of showings before it actually sells in the current market, in the micro market, et cetera, right? And then we figure out if we need to pivot, right? And this is why I'm illustrating the top of the funnel for you right now and why your home is not selling. And if that is working and you're not selling, you just have to adjust accordingly based on the feedback, right? This is all relatively simple when I explain it in this manner, right? Like honestly, it's not rocket science. But where it gets really, really, really tricky is when you're dealing with the psychology of a homeowner's largest asset they've ever made in their life. Nobody wants to sell their largest asset for less money. Every homeowner that I've talked to wants to sell for the most money on the street, break the records and be like, hey, I won. That's basically it. And also, every homeowner feels they could break the record because they have subjectively the best house on the market, right? And this attributes to some of the hurdles on why your home in Toronto may not be selling right now. Either you're not being told the truth or you're kind of lying to yourself and you need some data and feedback in addition to marketing the property properly so that you know how to sell the property. Now, if you want me to go through the psychology of sellers that I'm seeing right now in this current market, let me know in the comment section below. I'm more than happy to provide that because I think it's a very fun topic to broach, given that everybody is predicting when that next rate cut is going to be. And the psychology is interesting. But essentially what I've explained to you in this video is the top of the funnel, call it the 20% of our listing process that we go through with our clients. It's very important because that's how you start the process. And if you don't start properly, you're not going to sell the property. Obviously, there is a lot more. And if you do want to work with our team on selling your property in this market, you can book a call with me using the link that's on the screen. It's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya. Now that you're done watching this one, how about this one or this one? You know what? Just watch them both.